Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Unparalleled Universe. I hope everyone out there had an awesome holiday season and I hope that your year is off to a great start. I wish you the best in 2023. I think this next year is going to be amazing for all of us action figure fans and I'm just really looking forward to it. But before we get too deep into 2023, you know that we have to do some 2022 top 10 lists. So what we have here are my top 10 Marvel Legends of 2022. And before we get into it, I do have a couple of disclaimers. First off, this list is going to feature figures from all over the Marvel Legends line. So we have exclusives, we have Build-A-Figures, deluxe figures, MCU, comic, just pretty much everything Marvel Legends is included in this line. The only exception is the HasLab Galactus. That probably is the best figure that Hasbro came out with this year. That thing is absolutely incredible. So huge shout out to the Marvel Hasbro team for making that happen and just delivering such an awesome figure. I really love that Galactus, but I couldn't find a way to include him into this list. And the other disclaimer is that this list is just my opinion, no more, no less. And honestly, this is just my opinion as of this moment. It could change tomorrow. It was probably different yesterday. It took me time to put together this list because I'm constantly just kind of moving things around. So, you know, these lists are just for fun to put together, but they aren't the law, you know what I'm saying? And I imagine a week from now, if you ask me what my top 10 Marvel Legends figures of 2022 are, it'll probably be different from this list right here. I can say the only things that probably won't be different are the top 3, but everything else kind of just moves around and shifts. So, you know, this is my opinion as of right now, and I do imagine that it's going to be different from your opinion, but I think that's what makes these lists fun, you know? So be sure to let me know your top 10 in the comments below. I look forward to hearing what people say. But let's go ahead and get right into it, starting off with some honorable mentions. And before we get into the actual top 10, here are 7 figures that were considered for a top 10 spot, but couldn't quite make the cut, so they got put into the runner-up / honorable mentions category. Starting off with Noel, I think that Hasbro did a great job with this guy. Very well sculpted. I like how big he is. He does have a very villainous presence, and I think it's a great looking figure. I'm not really attached to this character, but I imagine people that do love Noel like this figure quite a bit because Hasbro did a great job. And then next up, we have the Walmart Doctor Strange. A really nice figure. I just wish that his cape was removable. I think that would have got this guy into the top 10. But yeah, they did a good job with this for sure. I love all the accessories that he comes with, and he looks good. I just wish the cape was removable. That's really the only flaw because it kind of makes it hard to play with. And then if you want to replace this cape with a soft goods cape, you kind of have to like destroy the figure, and that does kind of suck. But this is a nice figure. Shout out to Boog, who got the early reveal on that. And then over here we have the Marvel Legends Toad. And when he first came out, I thought for sure that he'd be in the top 10, but Hasbro went so crazy at the end of the year, they kind of knocked him out of his spot. But this is a really nice figure, a whole lot of fun to play with, almost a perfect version of Toad. The only thing I wish was different was the arms. I wish they would have given him new arms to go along with the rest of the body. But aside from that, this figure is amazing. And shout out to Feral Monch, who recently made a post talking about how this Toad figure doesn't really get like as much love as he should. I do agree with them. I think people are sleeping on this Toad figure. It's awesome. And for most of the year, I thought he was going to be in the top 10, but he just got knocked out. I feel bad about this one. I wish I could have put him in there because, yeah, he's a great figure. And it's a character that we've needed for a long time. And then we have Iron Spider back here. Shout out to D Amazing, who got the early reveal on this. And yeah, Hasbro killed it on him too. This is a great looking figure. Man, this is another one where it's like, damn, I wish he could have gotten to the top 10 because he's such a good looking figure. I think if he had a ball joint at the waist, that would have been it for me. I could have put him in the top 10. But as it is, it's a great figure. I do like it quite a bit. And yeah, they killed it on him. And then next up, we have another Spider-Man. We have the armored Spider-Man. And I think they did such a great job with the sculpting and the details on him. And yeah, I just love the way this figure looks. He would have been in the top 10 if he was a little bit more articulated, like maybe butterfly joints at the shoulders or something. But I do love the way he looks. They did a great job sculpting it. And huge shout out to Billy Moon from the Tuesday crew. He was asking for an armored Spider-Man for years, it seems like at this point. And it was cool when they finally put him out and they gave him a shout out in the live stream where they revealed it. So that was really cool of the Hasbro guys. And yeah, shout out to Billy Moon. He's awesome. But yeah, that's a great figure. Almost top 10 material, but not quite. And then next up we have Quake. And this is another character that I really wish could have made it into the top 10. This is just like a personal favorite for me. I don't think a lot of people are as crazy about this figure as I was. I really like it. I'm a big fan of Quake from the comics. I liked when she was in Secret Warriors and stuff like that. So I think it's very cool that they got around to making her. And I like the feature to make her Maria Hill. You know, she came with the extra head and the removable hands and stuff. So that's really cool. It works as an army builder and it works as, you know, this character. So that is really dope. And like I said, I don't think a whole lot of people love that figure, but I was a big fan. And then last but not least, we have the Disney Plus Moon Knight. And shout out to the Figure Report who got the early reveal on this. And yeah, he killed it on his review. So shout out to Mikey. But this is a really great figure. Probably one of the best like sculpted figures that we've seen from Hasbro. There's a whole lot of detail in there. They really did a great job. I just think the articulation is a little bit limited, especially like in the torso. You know, it doesn't move that much for a character like Moon Knight. But I think, you know, I'll be honest with you. I think a reason why this guy kind of ended up outside of the top 10 is because of my feelings for the Moon Knight TV show. I wasn't crazy about it when it was done, and I'm just kind of bitter about it, I think, you know, like because I'm a big fan of Moon Knight. I love Moon Knight, and there's just things in that show that I wasn't really happy with. So I'm just kind of like, whatever. But you can't deny the figure. The figure is amazing. They really did a great job with it. Amazing sculpting work, some pretty good articulation. I just wish there was a little bit more. But more so, I wish that I loved the Moon Knight show. If I did, I would have loved that figure and it would have been in the top 10. Yeah, that's right. That's how this is going to go. My feelings about things outside of the actual figure are definitely going to affect my placement for certain characters and things like that. So unfortunately, this Moon Knight figure fell victim to that whole situation. But yeah, that's the honorable mentions. All 7 of these are awesome figures, but let's go ahead and get into the top 10. And starting off the list at the number 10 spot, we have Morgue from the HasLab Galactus set. And a big reason why I like this figure so much is because of how obscure the character is and how hard Hasbro went on the figure. Like, not a whole lot of people are going to know this guy. In fact, I completely forgot about this character until they showed off the figure. But that didn't stop Hasbro from going all out on the figure. They did an amazing job with the sculpt. I love the texture of his skin, the spikes, the head sculpt is amazing. He's got pinless elbows, pinless knees, just everything that we want to see out of a Marvel Legends figure, this guy has it. Hasbro, they went hard on this figure for sure. They went crazy. They really did a great job on it. And I'm really glad to see that because with the whole HasLab thing, you want every single thing included in that situation to be of high value and feel like your money's worth. And I think that Morgue, it was a really good addition to the whole Galactus set. And they just really did a great job on this figure itself. He is so badass. And that's why he is at the number 10 spot. And at the number 9 spot, we have Thor from the Controller Build-A-Figure wave. And I really love this design for Thor. I think it looks super badass. He looks very serious and intimidating. And it's a nice contrast from the way that Thor is typically seen in pop culture, especially lately since he's always written as a joke and everybody's just laughing at Thor like they forget how much of a force he is, you know. But this design really captures that very well. And the figure is just awesome. There's a whole lot of nice sculpted detail and texture in the suit. The arms look amazing. He does have single jointed elbows, which is probably one of the only flaws, but it's not really a big deal because, you know, it still gets some pretty good range and you could do what you need to do. So, you know, I'm okay with that. But aside from that, this is a really, really dope figure. It's one of the few figures that has a cape that doesn't bother me too much. Like, it's small enough to where it just kind of gets out of the way and it looks awesome. I like the purple and red that's in there. And yeah, this is just an amazing figure, man. They really killed it on this one. I like that they went all out on a character that's as important as Thor. And I just like this look quite a bit. This is when he was a Herald of Galactus in the comics, so it's very fitting that they put this figure out around the same time as the Galactus HasLab situation. I think that was a very wise move. But yeah, this is a great figure, and that's why he's at number 9. And at the number 8 spot, we have the Bone Breaker Build-A-Figure. And this thing is freaking awesome. Bone Breaker has such a bizarre design. I'm really happy that they finally got around to doing him. They've been chipping away at the Reavers team for a couple of years now, and I think that's really dope because it's not like the Reavers are the most popular supervillain team out there, you know, but the guys over at Hasbro, or some of the guys over at Hasbro, love the Reavers, and they've just been committed to getting these characters out, and I think that's pretty awesome. But they did a great job with Bone Breaker. In my opinion, he's probably the most interesting looking member of the Reavers because of the tank and everything, and it just works really well for an action figure. Even back in the 5-inch days, The Bone Breaker that Toy Biz did was a lot of fun, and I'm happy to see that Hasbro finally got around to this character because they killed it. Everything about this thing is really dope. I love the head sculpt with that crazy ass maniacal laugh. That is perfect for the character. And yeah, this thing is just awesome. The only flaw with the release of this figure is the fact that it's a Build-A-Figure, and that's not really a problem, but the wave was kind of weak. There was several figures in that wave that I felt like, I didn't really want to buy them. I only bought them for the Build-A-Figure. And when it's a wave like that, that does kind of suck. But thankfully, it kind of makes it worth it by this figure being so awesome. You know what I mean? I do wish that he came in a stronger wave of characters, but it is what it is. At least at the end of the day, we got a really cool Build-A-Figure in the form of Bone Breaker, and I'm just really happy to have this character. So yeah, Hasbro definitely killed it on this figure. And at the number 7 spot, we have Longshot. And I think that Hasbro did a great job on this guy. At this point, the sculpt is completely new. I'm sure they'll get around to reusing a lot of these parts. In fact, they were going to use a lot of these parts on the Robbie Reyes figure, but that didn't work out. But I think they did a great job with Longshot. He looks good. It's very well sculpted. Articulation is pretty good too. For the most part, it's your standard Marvel Legends articulation, but I really like what they did with the neck. There's a lot of movement there, and I think it came out awesome. And he came out at a perfect time too. Hasbro just put out their Mojo figure and their Spiral figure, and having the three of them together is pretty special. So I'm happy about that. And this figure really speaks to me personally because when I was a kid, I always wanted the 5-inch Toy Biz Longshot, but I just never got it. It was one of the few Marvel figures that I wanted that I wasn't able to get for some reason. Him and Morph, actually. But yeah, man, I'm happy to have a good Longshot after all this time. The last time we saw Longshot in figure form was in the Toy Biz Marvel Legends era, and that figure wasn't very good, to be honest with you. But yeah, man, Hasbro came through and killed it with this crazy-ass character. And yeah, I'm curious to see what people think about this. Is he going to end up in your top 10? I feel like a lot of people are going to ignore this guy, but it's all good. I love it, and that's why he's in my top 10. And then coming in at number 6, we have the comic book Black Panther from the Atuma Build-A-Figure wave. And this guy came out really, really nice. I was not expecting to like this figure as much as I do, but Hasbro really did a great job with it. And obviously, it's one of the more simpler looks for Black Panther. But, there's something to be said when they could take a simple design like this and make it a really fun figure. That's very hard to do, and I think they really killed it right here. This body does have a lot of great articulation. It is the Vulcan body that just recently came out within the last year, and I think that mold and build and everything works very good for somebody like Black Panther. There's a whole lot of articulation, very fun to play with, and yeah, they killed it, man. The only thing that he's missing is an alternate head. If he came with an unmasked head, it would have been perfect. But as it is, I like this figure quite a bit. That's why he's at number 6 on the list. And for this spot, we're going to cheat just a little bit because both of these figures are very similar to each other. But coming in at number 5, we have the Amazing Fantasy Spider-Man and the animated series inspired Spider-Man. And both of these figures are freaking awesome. I love this base body. I think it works perfectly for like a young adult version of Peter Parker. Not too young, not too old. I think it looks really, really good. I love that we got 2 iconic versions already on this body. I can't wait to see if they give us a black suit on this. I think that'd be really, really cool. But yeah, man, I prefer the animated series look. I know some people don't like the cell shading, but I don't mind it. I think it looks kind of cool, actually. And other than that, I just love the bright colors. There is a version of Spider-Man on this body that doesn't have the cell shading, but it comes in a 3-pack. It's very expensive, so I haven't been able to pick that up. But I don't know if I will. I'm pretty happy with these 2 here. If I ever get a chance to get that other one, I'll grab it, but I really don't want to buy that Iceman. That one pisses me off. But about these Spider-Man figures, the bodies are really good. They have great articulation. They're able to achieve probably the best crouching position that we'll ever see on a Marvel Legends Spider-Man. This is awesome right here. And at first, when I started playing with this figure, I thought the torso was kind of limited, but the way they set it up really allows for some cool posing. It just kind of, like, the diaphragm seems a little limited, but then once you get it working with the ab crunch, you could really do some great stuff. And yeah, man, this is a really, really nice body for Spider-Man. Look at that shitty pose. What am I doing around here? But yeah, I'm very happy with both of these figures. And it's crazy that Hasbro gave us 2 of the best Marvel Legends Spider-Man figures in the same year. They're killing it with Spider-Man. They're doing some really great stuff, and they're giving us all kinds of different options. But yeah, man, these guys were almost going to be a little bit higher, but it was 4 through 1 are really, really They were tough. There were some good figures in there, but these guys almost made it higher on the list. I think the thing that probably kept them from being a little bit higher is the fact that there's so many other Spider-Man figures out there. There's a lot of options, a lot of good stuff. And these are up there as some of the top options, but they're not the only options, you know. But yeah, man, these are great figures, and I'm very happy that Hasbro continues to kill it with Spider-Man. And at the number 4 spot, we have the Man Without Fear, Daredevil. And this figure just makes me so happy because I feel like we don't have any other really posable, fun to play with Daredevil figures. There are some nice ones out there. Like, I'm a fan of the Mezco Daredevils. I like some of the old Toy Biz ones. And even the previous Hasbro one was pretty cool, but I just never thought the Bucky Cap body was good for Daredevil, but still, it was a decent figure. But this one right here has everything that I want out of a Daredevil figure. Just a simple look, a really good articulated body. In this case, he does have the pinless elbows and pinless knees, which look really nice. He's got a great head sculpt. The only thing he's missing is extra hands. I think it would have been perfect if they included some extra hands and an unmasked Matt Murdock head sculpt. You know, of course, that would have been cool. But, you know, as it is, this is a great figure. And even though it's very simple, it's just satisfying. It just makes me so happy to have a good Daredevil that I could actually pose around and play with. So yeah, they did a great job. I know some people kind of complain about the size of the shoulders. It doesn't really bother me too much. I guess it would have been cooler if they were a little bit bigger and if his, you know, shoulders were like a little bit wider. I understand that criticism, but honestly, just as it is, I'm perfectly happy with this figure. I think that Hasbro killed it, and I'm just really, really happy to finally have a Daredevil that I could pick up and pose around and play with. So this thing is awesome. And before we get into the top 3, I do have a subcategory, and this is for figures that are basically just re-releases of figures from previous years. But I didn't want to include them in the main top 10 because each one of these figures got a lot of love in the year that they were actually released originally. So something like Beast was probably number 1 on my Legends list the year he came out in the Caliban wave. So, you know, I didn't really want to take out somebody from my current top 10 to include one of these when these already got a bunch of love previously, you know. But I did want to spotlight them a little bit because we do have some amazing figures here. And in the case of Captain America and Beast, those are some of my favorite Marvel Legends ever, period. Not just for the years they came out. These are some of the best Legends I think that Hasbro's ever done. So I love those figures. But let's go ahead and take a quick look, starting off with Spider-Man. So this is the Renew Your Vows version, which is basically just an upgrade of the Marvel Legends retro version. This time around, he does have pinless arms, pinless legs, and a toe hinge. And yeah, I think this is a really great figure. I think this body works perfectly for an older Peter Parker. And yeah, I just love it a lot. It's a whole lot of fun to play with, and it looks great. So that's an awesome Spider-Man figure. And then we do have Venom from the King in Black 2-pack. And obviously, this is just a repaint of the movie Venom that came out last year or the year before. I can't remember exactly. But everybody was turning their movie Venoms into comic book Venom. So I'm really happy that Hasbro jumped on that and got us an official version of that setup, because this body is awesome. It's got a whole lot of articulation. I like the texture too. It works very well for the symbiote. And I think this might be my favorite Venom figure of all time. And then, of course, we have the Marvel Legends 20th Anniversary Captain America, aka Unparalleled Cap. And I absolutely love this figure. I love the bright, vibrant colors, the unmasked head, the straps. They did a lot of little things to upgrade that 80th Anniversary Captain America, which I was already a huge fan of. But adding these little things here and there really took it to the next level. And yeah, this Captain America is awesome. Probably the best Captain America figure that currently exists. But honestly, I do think that Hasbro can do a little better with it. Like if they would have given us, you know, pinless elbows and knees and then a diaphragm cut, they'd be almost untouchable. But as it is right now, this is my favorite Captain America figure, and it's freaking awesome. And then lastly, we have Beast, which just might be my favorite Marvel Legends figure of all time. Maybe, I don't know. This thing is freaking amazing. I love this Beast figure. Even when he first came out in that Caliban wave, you know, I almost felt like that even then it was like one of the best Marvel Legends figures. But the little bit of things they added to him with this re-release really took him to another level and almost makes him untouchable. I wouldn't mind if this is the only Beast we ever got, like from any company ever. Like, I think even someone like Mafex would have a hard time topping this Beast figure. Hasbro just killed it in every single way possible. The new head sculpt is amazing. The soft goods jacket, just everything about this guy is awesome. Yeah, he does have, you know, like pins in the elbows and the knees, but for a figure that has this much going on, you know, something like that could be overlooked. This is an amazing figure with some beautiful sculpting and some great articulation. So yeah, all these guys are amazing, but I really didn't want to take spots in the top 10 for figures that were probably already pretty high in the top 10s in the year that they came out, you know. So this is kind of just like a little loophole or something. But anyways, all four of these guys are awesome. Let me know what some of your favorite like re-releases of the year are. Alrighty, so now we're into the top 3. And at the number 3 spot, we have the X-Men animated series inspired Cyclops. And man, Hasbro really killed it on this figure. I was not expecting to like this guy as much as I do. When I saw the promo images, I thought that he looked cool, but once I had it in hand, I was like, man, they killed it. This guy came out really, really nice. This body is a perfect build for Scott Summers. I love what they did with the straps and how they secured it down to the body. That way they're not flopping around like on previous Cyclops figures. I love the blues. He does have the cell shading, and I don't mind that, but I am looking forward to when they eventually re-release this without the cell shading. I don't think they've announced that, but I'm sure they'll get to it. Kind of a no-brainer. But yeah, man, this figure is freaking awesome. And in my opinion, this has to be the best Cyclops figure that we've ever gotten in Marvel Legends. In fact, I don't think Toy Biz or Hasbro have ever released a really good Cyclops figure. This might be the only one, and they absolutely killed it, man. This thing is so freaking badass. This is definitely the best out of all the VHS X-Men figures, in my opinion. Yeah, they really did a great job. I like this guy way more than I thought I would. So that's why he ended up at number 3. And at the number 2 spot, we have Spiral. And damn it, Hasbro absolutely killed it on this figure. Hands down, this has to be one of the best figures that they've ever done. Spiral has such a crazy ass design and is so like toy friendly. I'm happy to see that Hasbro came through and just gave us a badass action figure of this crazy ass character. I don't really have any big complaints with this figure. Yes, I do wish that Hasbro would update the articulation setup on their female figures, but with Spiral, it doesn't bother me too much because she has so much other stuff going on, and the figure is just so enjoyable, fun to play with. She has an amazing sculpt. It's super well done in pretty much every aspect, but yeah, they killed it. And she almost took the number 1 spot. She almost came in at the last second and sniped number 1, but she couldn't do it. But she was damn close, I'll tell you right now, because this figure is super badass, and that's why she ended up on number 2 on my list. And coming in at the number 1 spot, we have the SpiderMan retro card Lizard. And look, I know a lot of people are going to disagree with this pick, but I don't care because I freaking love this figure. I think that Hasbro did an incredible job on pretty much everything on this guy. He has everything that we want to see out of Marvel Legends. He's got some great sculpting work, a whole bunch of articulation, some nice accessories, just all the things that we want to see in this line. Lizard has them, and I just love it, man. And I've got to say, I am a sucker for old school classic comic designs, and I just love that they gave us this old school looking head. This is so dope. I know this is not a lot of people's favorite head sculpt, but I love it. Like, you know, I'm a sucker for the old school classic comic goofiness. You know, it kind of has a charm to it, and I just love to see it represented, you know, in modern times and just fully embraced. And like with this guy, Hasbro took that whole idea and just went 100% with it and absolutely killed it, man. This figure is amazing. And this figure is extra special because I was asked by Hasbro to do the early review on this figure, which was really awesome because when they first revealed this, I remember thinking like, damn, this was the best reveal that they had that day. They had a bunch of Spider-Man figures that they showed, and a lot of them looked cool, but this is the only one that I was super excited about. And a little bit after that, they hit me up and asked me if I wanted to review it. And I reviewed it, and I remember a bunch of people talking shit like the figure wasn't dope. And I remember saying like in the review, like, trust me, this thing is awesome. And a lot of people kind of ignored me. And then when he came out and started to hit shelves, people saw it in person, and then they were like sold. And a lot of people hit me up like, damn, you were right. The Lizard is insane. And it's like, man, I told you, this thing is bars all day. I freaking love this figure. And honestly, just like Spiral, I think he's one of the best figures that Hasbro has ever done for Marvel Legends. I really, really love the way he turned out. And that is why he took the number 1 spot on my top 10 Marvel Legends of 2022. And yeah, I think that he's the best figure they put out this year. They straight up killed it. All right, guys, so that's it. That's my top 10 Marvel Legends of 2022. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know what you think of my top 10 list. Also, be sure to let me know what your top 10 Marvel Legends figures were this year. Please leave all that in the comments below. I look forward to checking all that out. But yeah, I think Marvel Legends had a pretty good year this year. There were some ups and downs. There was some polarizing situations in regards to price and the HasLab and, certain versions of characters that they're putting out. There was all kinds of little civil wars going on throughout the year. But, at the end of the day, when the smoke clears, the dust settles, and it's all said and done, we did get a bunch of really awesome figures. And really, that's the main thing that matters. All that other stuff is just, bullshit. So who cares about that? At the end of the day, if we get some good figures, I'm pretty happy. And I think that Marvel Legends really did a great job at giving us a really good amount of nice figures. There were some really bad ones too. I could probably put together a, top 10 worst Marvel Legends of 2022, but I don't like to do stuff like that. I like to focus on the positive figures because there were a lot of good ones. I'm very happy with some of these figures that we got. Some of them are things that I've wanted for a very long time. Some of these figures are characters that needed updates for several years. And, I think overall, I'm just really satisfied as a Marvel Legends collector. Although I did have some complaints throughout the year, at the end, I'm happy with what we have here. I'm happy with my top 10. Even though Hasbro's not always perfect, when they go for it, they could really give us some great stuff. And this top 10 list is proof of what they're capable of. So yeah, pretty good stuff. And with that, I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Also, be sure to hit the bell notification so you know every time that I go live. If you're not aware, I do go live every Tuesday at 7 p.m., every Friday at 7 p.m., and every Sunday at 10 a.m. to talk about comics. So come through on Sunday morning, get your coffee, your breakfast, or whatever the hell, and grab a comic book, and let's discuss it, talk about it, and it's kind of like a book club situation. So come through on Sunday for that. Tuesdays and Fridays, we just get weird and talk about toys. So come through for all that. Thank you very much. Peace.